Hi fans of online entertainment. It's been a while now since I've done a video in which I talk because I've been busy a lot lately with everything I've done. I haven't uploaded an unboxing since I think it was back in January actually, because I was busy doing a couple of things like in college stuff, and then obviously the COVID-19 crisis came on board. But luckily things are starting to reopen again. This Tuesday now, next Monday we're heading on to phase 2, which is great. So I'm going to do an unboxing video for a band that I've actually had gotten into lately, and because we're celebrating 40 years this year of their classic 1980 album, which you'll see in a second box. But for now, we're going to be looking at this. So this is REO Speedwagon, the early years 1971 to 1977. Now, this is a box set that came out in 2018, and this includes all of their early studio albums, plus one live album. Now, at the back of this box is actually quite different to the ones I've done so far, because you can see all the albums with the tracks mentioned, and then the album covers are actually featured at the top. So I'll just zoom it in there for you so you can have a look. Yeah, pretty cool. So I got this box set online, I think, from eBay for about £30, so not bad. So let's open it up. Now, I've recently gotten into REO Speedwagon's music and I've become madly obsessed with them. And Kevin Cronin is one of my all-time favourite lead singers. So we can just take it off there. So, here we go. Here's the box. So, when we open it up here, there is the replicas of the albums. So, I'll just put this to the side. And then, here's the book. There you can see a picture of the band. Some singles, and a bit of write-ups. That's the REO back cover. Another nice picture of the band. There they are, a suit young men. There they are. The albums. Love that picture. There you go. Cool book. Now for the albums. The very first album I ever heard by REO Speedwagon was their 9th studio album, so we'll talk about that one when we get there. But for now, like I said, this is just the early years box we're doing. So, number 1 was just simply titled REO Speedwagon. 1971 it came out. And then here's the back. And initially I was thinking on doing this box set in next year in 2021 to celebrate this record at 50. But given how I already did 50 years of James Taylor this year, and then I did 50 last year for Grand Funk Railroad, I thought I'd do a different anniversary this year, but for like a classic album. So anyway, this is REO Speedwagon's debut album. It's a fine record. This is the only studio album to feature Terry Luttrell on vocals. And in case any of you guys don't know, REO Speedwagon are from America. They formed in Chicago, Illinois. And the band at this time was Terry Luttrell, Gary Richrath, who's one of the greatest guitar players in the world, Neil Dowdy, Greg Philbin, and Alan Gratzer. Alan Gratzer there looks a bit like Max Weinberg from Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band. And the cover is pretty cool with the car. Right, so what we got on here? So, the opening track, Gypsy Woman's Passion, to me is very similar to the Foreigner song Hot Blooded, which comes off 1978's Double Vision, with a similar kind of riff. And then, with Gypsy in it, it's a song titled by Fleetwood Mac from 1982's Mirage. And then you could have Went to See the Gypsy's Passion, which is obviously like Went to See the Gypsy by Bob Dylan from 1970's New Morning, which is 50 this year. And then we get Gypsy Biker as well from Bruce Springsteen from 2007's Magic. And I think the big hit single on this one, well, it wasn't really a hit single, but the first single on here was Sophisticated Lady, which is featured on the Essential REO Speedwagon compilation. And I don't know what the term sophisticated means, but somebody can correct me in the comment box below. And then Lady is a song titled by Kenny Rogers, who sadly passed away this year. Then other ones with Lady in it include Rock and Roll Lady by Bartley James Harvest from 1979's Eyes of the Universe. Because some of REO Speedwagon's music is very Bartley James Harvest-esque. And then, what other tracks have Lady in it? Loads of ones, but I'm just using that one as an example for Sophisticated Lady. And then, then there's another track on here called 5 Men Were Killed Today. And on subject of killed, George Floyd was already killed by a Minneapolis police officer, so R.I.P. And it was a very tragic death for him. And then the other tracks on here include Prison Woman, which was recorded at the Columbia Record Studios in Chicago, Illinois. The ones that have the dash there was recorded, and the same with the track Lay Me Down. With Lay Me Down, it's like saying Lay Down Your Weary Tomb, which is a Bob Dylan track recorded during, I'm not sure which album it was recorded for, but it was sort of around the time of the Times They Are Changing era. And I also think, what other tracks do I like on here? The next track, Riverside Avenue, is pretty cool. And it's like saying Cypress Avenue, which is a Van Morrison song from 1968's Astral Weeks, or even 10th Avenue Freeze Out by Bruce Springsteen on 1975's 45-year anniversary of Born to Run. Pretty cool. And yeah, some loads of stuff in here. So here's the disc. The discs are basically on HME records, and they all look the same, but they all have different colours. So this one is a red disc. So that's pretty cool. And they got the skull in the background. Yeah. So yeah, it's a pretty fun album. And then of course, the last track on here is very long, called Dead at Last, which kind of goes on and on and on, which kind of puts you to sleep after a few minutes. And it's like saying Built to Last, which is an album title by the Grateful Dead, and then of course Built to Last by Tom Petty from 1991's Into the Great Wide Open. So yeah, it's a fine record. So then Terry Luttrell leaves the band, and then Kevin Cronin finally makes a debut appearance, but he only is in for a brief debut on this one. REO 2 from 1972. Then here's the back. It's a pretty cool album, this one. Kevin Cronin is actually featured as a songwriter for some of these tracks. One of the tracks he wrote on here is called Let Me Ride. And you could, if you were to ask, let me ride what? The one answer could be Ride the Wild Wind, which is a Queen song from 1991's Innuendo. And he also wrote the song Being Kind Can Hurt Someone Sometimes. I don't think so anyway. And then he also wrote Music Man. The rest were written by Gary Richrath, including the song Golden Country, which has that cool organ riff by Neil Dowdy. And with country, so with Golden, we can have Golden Heart by Mark Knopfler from the 1996 album, same name. And then, or even Golden Boy by Bob Seger from 1995's 25-year of It's a Mystery. And then we also have another track called Like You Do, which is like saying Love Me Like You. Love Me Like You Do from the Underaging Moon album. And then Little Mix's track Love Me Like You from Get Weird. And on subject of which, Leanne Pinnock just got engaged, because everyone agrees she'd be the first to get married in the band. And what else do we have? They also do a cover of Chuck Berry's Little Queenie, which is basically the same as the Run Rudolph Run, which is played at Christmas time. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So I'll just get you the disc. They're all the same, but this one is blue. So yeah, that's a pretty cool one. This should be a great record. I love the cover. It kind of reminds me of the front cover of Genesis Live. So that's that one. Then Kevin Cronin left the band, and then Mike Murphy joined as the new lead singer. And this album is quite rare on vinyl, actually, but I think this would be a good record overall. Riding the Storm Out from 1973. Here's the back. And this, of course, has the title song, Riding the Storm Out, which is really cool. And Gary Richrath wrote a lot of these songs, and he even sang on one of them, called Find My Fortune. He has a pretty cool voice, I think. And I think Mike Murphy there reminds me a lot of Les Holroyd from Bartley James Harvest, with the similar curly hair and the mustache. And on the subject of the COVID-19, now that we're entering into a new normal, there's a track here called Start a New Life, which is kind of starting a new normal, basically. So I thought this was another right time to do it. The title song, Riding the Storm Out, is pretty cool, and it's actually, on the bonus tracks, it features Kevin Cronin singing it. And some of these have guest stars on it, like Joe Walsh from the Eagles plays slide guitar on the songs Whiskey Night, Open Up and Start a New Life. And he obviously wasn't in the Eagles at that time, because in 1973 the Eagles released the album Desperado, which is pretty cool. And Evan Cronin may have left the band, but he wrote the two songs It's Everywhere, and Everywhere is a song titled by Fleetwood Mac from 1987's Tango in the Night. And then he also wrote Movin' as well, which I think was another single on here. And yeah, it's pretty cool. And they also cover Stephen Stills' track Open Up. So I'll just get you the disc. It's very gold. I think it's an ochre kind of cover. So yeah, that's pretty cool. You know, surprisingly, they went through 3 lead singers on 3 studio albums, and surprisingly, when this box set came out in 2018, Ride the Storm Out celebrated 45 years for that record. And Ride the Storm Out and the next album are quite rare to get on vinyl, and possibly CD as well, because this next album, 1974's Lost in a Dream, was out of print on CD after 2 months. There you go, there's the back. I like this album cover. It's probably my favourite of the early years. And I love the back cover too. Greg Philbin there reminds me a lot of Roy Bittan from the E Street Band. And also Tim Drummond, who was a session bass player. And also Morris Gibb from the Bee Gees. So this includes, of course, the title song Lost in a Dream, which is pretty cool. They also have a song on here called Sky Blues, which is a Peter Gabriel song from 2002's Up. And in 1974, Peter Gabriel played on his Last Chances album, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. And we also have a track on here called Wild as the Western Wind, which is basically Wild as the Wind for a similar title. And that's a song titled by David Bowie from 1976's Station to Station. And we also have I'm Feeling Good, which is basically the same as I Feel Good by James Brown, or as also like saying, it's all good, being a Bob Dylan song from 2009's Together Through Life, which I think is pretty cool with the it's all good. So yeah. And then Give Me a Ride Roller Coaster. It should be called Give Me a Roller Coaster Ride, which I think is really awesome. That's a cool title for a first track, I think. And then we have Then They're on the Road, which is basically like saying They're on the Road to Nowhere, which is a Talking Head song from 1985's Little Creatures. And then also On the Road to Nowhere being the opening lyrics of Barclay James Harris's Neudart from the 1993 album Caught in Light, featuring the magnificent and glorious Copie Romanie, which is pretty cool. So then here's the disc. Orange this time. So that's pretty cool. Love this album cover. So next came their 5th studio album, This Time We Mean It, from 1975. And this album doesn't have any of the songs featured on the essential REO Speedwagon compilation, I don't think. But this does have the single on here called Reeling, which is also like saying Reeling in the Years by Steely Dan from 1972's Can't Buy a Thrill. They also do an Eagles cover of Out of Control, which is featured on the 1974 album On the Border. And in 1975, the Eagles released their breakthrough album, One of These Nights, which is 45 this year. And this record is 40. Okay, and I'm back. Sorry about that. I had to just go to the bathroom there. That's why I had to stop my camera. So as I was saying, on 1975's This Time We Mean It, the song, that the Eagles' 45-year anniversary of One of These Nights is released this year. And that's a pretty cool one there. Then the song Lies is also a song titled by J.J. Cale from 1973's Really, Status Quo from 1980's Just Supposin', and the Rolling Stones in 1978's Some Girls. And then there's also Dance on here, which is a song titled by the Rolling Stones from 1980's Emotional Rescue. And then we get Gambler, which is also a song titled by Kenny Rogers, who, as I said, passed away this year. And then the song River of Life is basically like saying The Secret of Life, which is a song titled by James Taylor from 1977's JT. And then River of Dreams being a song titled by both Billy Joel from 1993's record of the same name and Barclay James Harris from 1997's record of the same name. Then we get You Better Realize, and then Realize on its own is a song titled by one of the students in my on my college course in BIM Dublin. And then the song You Better is like saying You Better You Bet, being a song title from the Face Dances record, which is one track that I seriously can live without because I don't like that song at all. And yeah, it's a fine record. It's very hard to get this one on vinyl, actually. So here's the disc. It's all green. There's that one. So then Mike Murphy had left the band, and then Kevin Cronin finally came back to the band, and we get 1976's REO. And there's the back. And in many people's minds, this is often referred to as the Cow album, given how it has a cow design on the front. Right, so what have we got on here? Oh, and by the way, the back cover is basically the front cover of the box. And this is the last album to feature Greg Philbin, which was this guy, because he left the band, I think due to I think he was asked to leave, or maybe due to creative differences, I don't know. But Kevin came back after a 3-year absence. What I love on here is I absolutely love Keep Pushing. It blew my mind when I heard it the first time, and I still love it to this day. I love the tracks Only a Summer Love, which Gary Richrath sings, because Kevin and Gary share the vocals on this album, and Gary has a cool voice. Only a Summer Love, with Only, it's like saying Only a Pawn in Their Game, being a Bob Dylan song from 1964's Times They Are Changing, then Only a Hobo by Bob Dylan from that same era, and then Only a Boy, being a Rod Stewart song from 1981's Tonight I'm Yours. And then on the second side, we get Breakaway, which is an album title by Art Garfunkel, which is 45 this year. Then we have Lightning, being a song title by Little Mix from 2015's Get Weird, and it's actually my least favourite of all the Little Mix songs, and it's even their longest track ever. And then we get Under and Lightning, being a song title by Thin Lizzy from 1983's record of the same name, and by Phil Collins from 1981's greatest 80s debut album, Face Value. And then on the side one there, back to side one, we get I Believe, being an Elvis song title, or I Believe in You by Neil Young from After the Gold Rush, and by Bob Dylan from 1979's Slow Train Coming. And then I Believe When I Fall in Love It'll Be Forever. That's a song title by Stevie Wonder from 72's Talking Book, and then Art Garfunkel covered it for the Breakaway album. And then Our Time Is Gonna Come is basically the same as Your Time Is Gonna Come, being a Led Zeppelin song from the 69 debut album. And My Time Is Gonna Come from the McVicker album, which is 40 this year, which is pretty cool. So I'll just get the disc. Same as the first one, where it's all red. I like it. So yeah, it's that one. So that's all the studio albums, and now we get, of course, their live album. Live, you get what you play for, and this is disc 1. And the tracks they do on here are Like You Do, Lay Me Down, Any Kind of Love, Being Kind Can Hurt Someone Sometimes, Keep Pushing, Only a Summer Love, Son of a Poor Man, and I Believe Our Time Is Gonna Come. So that's pretty cool. I like the cover. I like how Kevin and Gary are showmanning themselves, like showmanship themselves. I like Greg's look there on the bass. He nearly is like John Deacon in the booklet of the Flash Gordon album by Queen. There's Neil Downey looking very cool on it with his hat. And then there's, of course, Alan Gratzer. So I'll just get the disc for you quickly. The disc is all purple, which is cool. And then, of course, the second disc of Life, You Get What You Play For. So you get Flying Turkey Trot, which is pretty cool. And then we get, of course, with Turkey Trot, could be like saying Turkey Chase, being a Bob Dylan song from the Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, featuring the mostly covered Knock on Heaven's Door. And then Flying on its own are song titles by the Beatles from the Magic Mystery Tour, and the Faces from their 50-year anniversary of First Step. Then there's Gary Richrath's guitar solo, 157 Riverside Avenue, Riding the Storm Out, Music Man, Little Queenie, and then Golden Country. And then purple disc. So that's it. That's my unboxing for REO Speedwagon's 1971 to 1977 box set. I hope you all enjoyed it. REO Speedwagon are one of my all-time favourite artists, and I think they are great. And I'd say they're probably one of my favourite 5-piece bands of all time, along with Aerosmith, the Rolling Stones, Blue Oyster Cult, Styx, Journey, Genesis, just with Peter Gabriel. Who else? Steely Dan, when they were 5 members. Oasis, of course. Yes, I like them. Maybe Pearl Jam as well. And loads more to come. So anyway, thank you very much. So, and remember to subscribe to my channel. Leave your comment below on what you think of REO Speedwagon's box set and the band in general, and I'll see if maybe another original song for a possible album I plan to do in the near future for like a second album. And stay tuned for the classic years, 1978, 1990 box set towards the end of this month when my birthday comes. So thank you very much, guys. Take care. Goodbye and stay safe.